Seriously. Yeah, it's in
Okay, hold on.
mode.
We're going live. So the buttons are not working on my show today, and I am working on fixing or if I freeze. So my screens are all frozen, but oh, there they go. They're back. Hey guys, it's Tim Gillette, the Tim Gillette Show. And you know what? Today's show is going to be a little bit different because my computer decided to update 45 minutes before my list of shows today. And I'm like, oh, crap. But hey, I always like to go with the flow and say that the show must go on. So we're doing a series called 100 Interviews in 30 Days. Through Blab. That we've been friends a long time, and that is Stacy Lynn Harp. And I've known Stacy, I think 5 years now, right, Stacy?
Yeah.
About 5 years?
Yeah, 5 long years. It's been a tumultuous relationship, but just kidding.
And it's weird that, I mean, I've been doing radio's podcasts for 5 years, and so have you, and really, we've not had I don't think we've had an area that kind of touched where we should be on each other's shows until this is the first opportunity where we have a fit. Because we really haven't had a fit, I don't think. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, buttons don't work. The journey to know. Oh, that was your. I loved your comment. Can I put that up?
Yeah, it was my comment. The journey to nowhere.
This is where you live, Nowhere, Tennessee. I'm just
pretty much, yeah. I live in the middle of Hicksville, USA, is what I always tell people.
In the middle of Hicksville, USA. So yeah.
I actually moved to Tennessee 7 years ago out of Southern California, having lived in California most of my life since I was 7 years old. And moving to Tennessee in the middle of Hicksville, USA, completely different than Southern California. It took me a long time to get used to it. Mm-hmm.
So you know, see, I know some of your background. I know some of the things that's not your background, but you live in Tennessee, and there's something I love that comes out of Tennessee. Two things I love that comes out of Tennessee. Do you know what they are?
Music.
Okay, three things that come out of Tennessee.
Okay, I have no idea.
One.
Alcohol.
Moonshine.
Moonshine. Yeah, that is true. And what I can tell you is that people drink in Tennessee. That's for sure.
Yeah. Any other? Jack Daniels.
Okay. People smoke in Tennessee.
2 alcohols and 1 music.
That's why everybody moves here. Everybody moves to Tennessee because of the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm part of an event in June that is in Nashville, and the gentleman has been holding this event in California for years. And he decided to do Nashville for his next big event, and looking forward to you know what I mean, coming up there in Nashville and being part of his event. I don't think I've ever stayed in the city of Nashville ever in my life. So, and how far are you from Nashville?
I'm about 40 minutes.
40 minutes? Okay.
40 minutes south of Nashville. And I think right now Nashville is still kind of reeling from the tornadoes that came through here a couple of weeks back. I actually know a lot of people who have been impacted by those. And so it's kind of been interesting to watch at least the business world react to the tornadoes and the big disasters, and then also the COVID-19 thing. I'm a people watcher, and I observe very closely culture. And I just find it we're in very interesting times. So, and for a state full of faith, the fear that I have seen in this state has blown me away.
Wow. Well, you know what I mean, and you know what I mean. I wonder sometimes, Stacy, like through this, and I know your Christian beliefs. I mean, do you feel like any of this is like, you know, biblical prophecies coming down?
I actually think that, you know, I mean, you know, a lot of people ask me that. I'll tell you, just drop my slipper, people. I have fuzzy slippers.
I do too, but I don't have them on today. It's just nice and warm here, so I think I'm barefoot down here. So
yeah, I think that a lot of people have actually come to me with that very question. Is this the end of the world? Is the end of the world being fulfilled or whatever? And I think that we are definitely in the end of times for sure. And I think that it's a controversial statement to say what I will say, but I do think that what we're seeing is God's judgment. And it's not just on America. I think it's actually God's judgment on the world. And I actually think it's a soft judgment compared to what really could come and destroy the world. I mean, I really do. Not that the world's going to be destroyed, because it's not ultimately going to be destroyed, I don't think, for a long time. But I do think God is trying to call people back to himself. And I actually just got an email yesterday talking about how a lot of pastors have been calling for people to pray at a certain time during the day, at least here in Tennessee. And what they noted was that after that collective prayer started happening, the numbers of the COVID responses went down, that they were expecting people to die. That number actually decreased by about 15%.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I know, again, I'm a Christian as well as you are a Christian, and you're just a little more in depth to it than I am. All right, and it's okay, but that's who you are, and it's why I think people are looking up to you right now. And how do you feel about people looking up to you on this?
Well, it's funny you should say that. Last night I had a call. I had a 90-minute conversation with my friend Bernie, who happens to work for Salem Radio. Many years ago, he was the producer for Janet Parshall's America, which was like the number one Christian woman-led radio show in the country for like 20 years. And anyway, him and I were talking, and I got a sense from Maryland, where he's based, out of the DC area, because he used to work for C-SPAN and stuff like that. He works with SRN Radio, and that's Salem Radio Network, which is one of the biggest Christian networks out there. And him and me were talking about the thirst for answers from God. And also, I shared with him that what I've seen in the business community is people coming to me and wanting to know more about the Word of God. What does the Bible say? People are curious. And it's been a blessing to me, because I was asked to start a local Bible study, and I've done that, and I love it. And people are open, they're thirsting. The Bible says that the harvest is plentiful, laborers are few, and it's kind of like in business, as you know, and this has been another theme in business for me, is that you can throw seed out, right? And hoping to get a prospect or a business lead or whatever. And you're like, you take the whole seed and you throw it out there hoping that something will stick. But the Bible talks about I think there's 4 different places that the seed falls. The birds will come and get it. It will fall on hard ground. It will get on good soil. Or it will start to take root, and then the worries and the cares of this world will uproot it, and the person won't be able to stand. And so I'm finding that spiritually, obviously that was a parable the Lord gave, but spiritually, that's how people are, like, I want to know, or I know I don't want to know, or I don't believe, but yeah, I'm going to believe. I'll only believe strong enough until I'm done believing and my need has been met. I think what people are really having to deal with, frankly, is if they're going to rely on money and the economy, or they're going to rely on God. And for Christians, the answer should be God. But admittedly, and I am one of those people, I'm in that boat where I'm like going, okay, Lord, look, you know me, but it would really be nice if I got a couple sales this month, but when that doesn't happen, I'm like, okay, God, look, I know you're going to provide for me, because your word says you will. There's unemployment. So
has this pandemic, or this what we're going through in our country, has it shaken your faith at all right now?
No, not at all. In fact, I'm excited. I'm a weirdo, because when I look at this, I go, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. In fact, the one thing that I can actually say is, if anything, it just tempers my resolve to continue doing what I'm doing. because I know the answer, right? I mean, I believe Jesus is the answer. I believe the word of God is the answer. And I think hope is only found in him. And I see how blind the masses and how easily controlled they are. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so sad. I'll give you an example. I went into a local store yesterday to do an essential shopping. Admittedly, it was for ice cream. Which
ice cream is essential.
Yes, during this time of feast or famine. But no, in seriousness, we went to the store because we need to get some stuff. And the stores, they're complying with the rules, putting tape down. But I thought in this particular store, it was funny because they decided to tape on the ground arrows going up and down the aisle, like you can only go this way. And me and Randall were like, no, I think I'm gonna walk the way I feel like walking. I'm not gonna go this way in a store. It's ridiculous. And it's funny because in Tennessee, the South is way different than California, right? So in Tennessee, you can't get people to shut up. If you say hi, they'll talk to you for an hour. I'm not kidding you. It's like that's one of the when I first opened my bank account here, it literally, I was there for almost 2 hours. Two hours. And me and my husband were like, how do we get out of here? We just wanted to open this bank account up with the bank. Yeah. Well, when we were at Publix, which I love Publix because it's publicly owned and the employees have a part in it. It's really a great thing. In fact, I even got a, thing on the outside. I should wear it.
Yeah. Anyway, showing your support with a button. Yeah.
The people though, in the store, there were half of the people that had masks on and gloves, a couple people with full on headgear. And then there was me and my husband who we just walked in like, normal. And those of us like us were kind of talking to each other, kind of teasing each other that you're like closer than 6 feet, and not because we don't believe what's really going on. I completely believe what's going on. I don't buy into the hype, and I'm not tuned into the fear-mongering media 24 hours a day, having that fill me up with fear. And the funny thing is I was talking to the employees, and the employees were like, yeah, I'm good. Because, they're not wearing anything. And I'm like, you're around people all day. Yeah. So, I don't know.
So, I mean, so you've got your faith in this. You're going out. You're still doing your shopping. You're still doing certain things. And I assume you're still doing some precautions. I mean,
yeah. I'm not going anywhere. I mean, I'm really I'm staying at home. So,
So, you know what I mean? And it's always been said, especially in our realms, all right, faith or fear, it can't exist. Well, is there some fears right now for you or no?
Well,
I know you're a person of faith, but is there a fear in there? I don't want to elaborate on it, but is there?
No, I think my biggest fear is that if people don't calm down, it could get worse. My biggest fear is how masses react. In fact, me and my friend Bernie, we're talking about this, and we're talking about how it's amazing. This has been going on for over a month now, right?
Yeah.
And there hasn't been any major rioting or looting or anything that we know of, right? I mean, the media would definitely put that up if that was going on en masse. They haven't done that, to my knowledge. I know that there were some people that posted a couple of things. I did see some stuff, but I don't think it's rampant like it could be. And I think our president, frankly, is doing a great job with what he's been handed.
Yeah.
So,
we could almost go there with your opinion on president. It's getting to know you. All right. It doesn't matter to me what you believe, but you like him or dislike him through this or even before this?
I voted for him. But I didn't vote for him because I voted for him. I voted against Hillary. So my husband did not vote for him. I don't agree with a lot of his policies and on certain issues. And I do understand why people think he's a pig. I get that. But I I actually, frankly, admire the fact that he's done what he's done and that he's remained who he is. I mean, I think people are sick of BS politicians. I think Donald Trump tells it the way it is, and he's from New York. I was born in New York. I kind of get it, you know. And I think, like, again, my friend Bernie and I, you should have Bernie on here.
You need to connect me with him.
Yeah, I will message him actually. He might come on. But you know, he was, you know, like Bernie is a black guy. Okay. He was telling me that he went to Howard, is it Howard University, the very first black college in America?
I don't know, to tell you the truth.
I think it is. It's the one that Oprah promotes. Well, anyway, Donald Trump has given more money to that university in like 1 year than people all throughout the history of the university. And yet, you know, people attack Trump for being racist or whatever, and it's bull crap. You know what I mean? It's like, so I think Trump doesn't get treated fairly, but then again, a lot of people don't get treated fairly. I think he stands up though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go into your story a little bit. All right. So you were in California, all right, but you moved to Tennessee. Tell us what you did in California.
What I did in California.
Yeah. What did you do when you were out in California before you came to Tennessee?
Well, I was a marriage and family therapist. Yeah, I was. And I counseled children and adults and couples. Did therapy. Then in my last year of grad school, I started my podcast in 2004. So I've actually been podcasting for 16 years, not 5. Been on video for about 5, though.
Okay.
So I launched my show, Bible News Radio. It wasn't named that in the beginning. It actually started out as a group to do book reviews for Christian publishers. And as a result of connecting with them in a miraculous way, I actually had this. Did I ever tell you this story? I had this guy from the Chronicles of Narnia contact me about my blog. Did I tell you this?
I don't remember it, but yeah, you could have, because we've had conversations, but it's been a long time since we've had a conversation.
So way back when the Chronicles of Narnia movie came out, that's how long ago it was. I was blogging about politics, and somebody from that movie contacted me and wanted to put an ad about the Chronicles of Narnia movie on my thing, but also about a DVD about Ronald Reagan. It was called In the Face of Evil. They said, hey, we'll give you some money if you put an ad on your blog. And I was in grad school. I said, sure, why not? So that gave me the idea, why not? You know, Christian publishers give me Christian books, and then I have a whole bunch of Christian people in the blog world way back in 2004, 2005 that were in my network. I'll send it out to them. They can write reviews, and I'll make some money. I'll be the go-between. So the guy from the Chronicles of Narnia, though, invited me to the National Religious Broadcasters Convention, which in 2004 or 5, whatever year it was actually being held in Anaheim, California. Usually it's held here at the Opryland. I mean, NRB takes 10-year contracts and has it held there every year. But that year it was in Anaheim. So this guy invited me to hang out at the booth at NRB at the Chronicles of Narnia. And it was about 2 or 3 days before the event. He called me up and he said, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't want you to come and hang out at the event. I don't want to give you the free ticket after all. I thought, dang, what an Indian giver. And so I told my husband, I said, you know what? That guy is not going to get away with it. I'm going to go down there anyway. And so that was one of the choices in my life that if I had not made that choice, you probably wouldn't be talking to me today.
Wow.
So I went down, I hung out in the expo area. Well, actually on the outside of the expo area. And people were asking me for 2 hours, like, who are you with? What do you do? Blah, blah. And I said, well, this guy from the Chronicles of Narnia booth said I could come in, and he reneged on his thing. And, you know, I'm just kind of waiting to get in. And finally, 2 hours in, I had a guy from the Amazing Facts Seventh-day Adventist TV show give me a free ticket, and a woman who was a local talk show host gave me a free ticket to the expo. Back then, that was worth about $500. So they let me into the expo. I started walking around. I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Look at all these books. I love books. I was in grad school. I was like, there's books galore. And so I started going up to the Christian publishers and I said, hey, have you guys ever thought about blogging for books? And they're like, who are you? And I said, I'm Stacy. I'm a therapist. And I'll never forget what this woman from, I think it was Crossway Publishers, she said to me, she said, are you sure you're a therapist? Because you really seem more like a publicist and kind of a vocal person. And I said, well, yeah, I'm sure I'm a therapist, but do you have a card? And she's like, yeah, I have a card. Do you have a card? I said, no, I don't have a card, but I have an idea. She said, take my card, get in touch with me. And I did that. And I literally got a stack of cards that high, which you can do at NRB very easy. I went home, I emailed everybody, and literally 3 days later, I went down to the city of Orange, bought a business license, and I went into business not knowing what the heck I was doing at all. But I had 3 publishers sign on like that. And so I started getting books sent to me, sent them out to bloggers, had them blogging it in exchange for an ad on the site. And then I was like, you know, I'm getting all these books. Why don't I just start interviewing people? So one of the first books I got was by Dr. Frank Turek called I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist.
Wow.
And so I contacted Frank and I said, can you come on my show? And he's like, yeah. And I remember Frank because he irritated me. I was like, oh, all this guy kept doing was, and he's a friend of mine today. So, so all he kept doing though was saying, you have to buy my book. I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. And he kept repeating it over and over and over again. I was like so irritated. Like, why do you keep saying the name of your book? I'm here just talking to you about your book, but you don't have to say the name of your book so much. And of course, at that time, I had no idea because I'd never interviewed anybody. But there came a point where I had to make a choice, and my choice was between whether or not I wanted to continue to pursue being a therapist or I wanted to do this. And so I'm fast forwarding about 2 years, but I prayed and I said, Lord, look, I don't know what you want me to do. Do you want me to do this or do you want me to be a therapist? And so I'm going to ask you for the completely impossible in my world. And so I said, Lord, look, if you want me to do this, then I'm going to ask you to let me interview Amy Grant, because Amy Grant is, her influence was in my life as a Christian. I got saved in high school. That's another whole story, but I got saved in high school. Somebody gave me her cassette tape, Father's Eyes, which is way back, classic Christian.
Way back when, yeah.
And I listened to that, and somehow I knew that if I was going to invite Amy Grant on my show, I had to find her publicist. So I did Googling, and you remember, this was way back 16 years ago. Nobody was online like they are today. Literally, nobody was online. But somehow I knew what to look for. I miraculously found her publicist. I sent an email to her and I said, look, I just started a show. I don't even remember the name of it, but I said, I would like to have Amy Grant come on my show as a guest. And they sent me back this list, literally like that, like a foot long, that I had to fill out, like how many people like tune in and, how many page views. I was like, whatever. I put 0. 500 maybe if I'm lucky. Anyway, I filled this thing out and I sent it in. And then I would say probably about 4 or 5 weeks went by, and I'll never forget it because I was sitting at my desk and I was like, it was a Friday afternoon. I was like, Lord, look, do you want me to do therapy or do you want me to do this? Because it seems to me like this is exploding, because it was. And literally about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I get this email from Amy's publicist. And all it said was, Amy has an available spot for you on Monday for 10 minutes at this time. It's yours if you want it. So I jumped up and down and screamed. My husband's like, are you okay? I'm like, okay. And then the funny thing is once I got the interview and Amy actually called my house, because this was way back, like before all this stuff. So all I had was a speakerphone and I had a micro cassette tape recorder. And so she calls me up. And so I had my micro cassette tape recorder and my speakerphone. And so I'm like trying to interview her, because it was all taped,
Yeah.
And then I got bagged on by a guy who was like, I can't believe you landed an A-list guest and your recording is crap. And, it's crappy as hell. And I'm like, what? I landed an A-list guest. I mean, that was what I thought. I was like, oh my gosh, who cares? They sent it out to Friends of Amy and it exploded. And then I found out that I was actually the very first person to interview Amy on a podcast.
Oh, wow.
Is that cool or what?
That is really cool. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I was always looking for the firsts too, but I never got them. So, but I got a rejection letter from Bill Clinton's office. I mean, that's my claim.
That's cool.
But it's interesting. So, I mean, this all started in California. What made you then pick up roots from California and come to Tennessee?
I got sick of California.
Oh.
I mean, I have a brother that lives here in Brentwood, and my in-laws also live here close to us. And my husband and I just felt like this was the time that we needed to go. Mm-hmm. And it was that story in itself is another big story, but it was definitely the Lord's getting us here. Was it
an entire slowdown to life when you got there?
Yeah. It took me 3 years to get used to this place.
How many years? I'm sorry, what?
3.
3 years?
Yeah. And it wasn't until I heard about this sport called pickleball.
Yeah.
Which got me, because after we landed here, we got ripped off. And I mean, a lot of unchristian things happened to us here in the Bible Belt. I was actually thinking that a lot of good stuff was going to happen, and nothing but bad stuff happened when we got here. Yeah. I was like, what the heck? I'm going to the promised land. I'm leaving liberal, Nazi, Marxist California to come to the Bible Belt. And oh my gosh, did I get an awakening? Yeah. Showed up here. But then I discovered pickleball, and this is a pickleball paddle. Yeah, it is. And this is a pickleball, and pickleball came into my life, and that really kind of helped launch me into making some good friends, and then eventually I got into the network marketing world after that.
Okay. So, I mean, but you how did your show transition from the beginnings of interviewing books to becoming now it's called Bible News Radio?
Yeah. So over time, what I initially did was my mentor, Janet Parshall, had a political Christian radio show where she interviewed people. Mm-hmm. Every time she had on a guest that I liked, I would go Google the person, go to their website and say, hey, I just heard you on my friend Janet Parshall's show. I would love if you would come on my show. Mm-hmm. And Janet has always high caliber people, including people in government, John Kasich, Jim DeMint, Dr. Ben Carson, people like that. And all 3 of those guys have been on my show, and so I would just ask for interviews, and I always got them. There's literally probably 5 people in the history of me doing my show that I never got on my show. Mm. And so I just started building my skills. And what I did was I listened to her, and I learned from her by listening how to do transitions, how to go in and out of a break. Mm-hmm. Eventually, Blog Talk Radio was launched. That was a very first live platform. So I eventually went live, and I learned how to do that. I learned how to go in and out of breaks by literally writing the script and learning. And then when I had guests, I learned how to prep them, because all the publishers send you lead questions, as you probably know. You get a review copy, you get lead questions. So people are always like, well, how do you know what to ask? I mean, I look at the lead questions, but I usually threw them out and just talk to people. And so,
which is basically what I do.
Yeah. You see, then I ventured from just the Christian books. I decided, what? I wonder if I can get anybody, besides Amy Grant in Christian music. So then I started looking for other people I liked. And with the exception of Mandisa, I've pretty much been able to get everybody that I want in Christian music. I've had on Dolly Parton. I've had Heidi Parton, Dolly's niece, I had on for a whole show. But I mean, I had on Mercy Me. I'm trying to think. Twyla Paris, I've had her on. Kim Hill, I've had her on. anyway, and I was like, okay, I wonder who I can get in the politics world now. And so I would connect with my Christian activist friends and I would ask, do you have connections to blah, 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 blah? Like when I got Dr. Ben Carson, I was stoked. I was like, no, that's a good guy. That's a good get. I had him on twice. And then, then people started inviting me to cover events and go out. So I had actually the Family Research Council fly me out from California to Pennsylvania to cover one of their Justice Sunday events where I got to interview Dr. Alveda King in person and a whole Tony Perkins and, all the big wigs in the Christian right. So I know people all over. And what's funny to me is I know a lot of people. I'm very connected to a lot of people, but most people are like, whatever, you're just little Stacy from Bible News Radio. Because I don't really care. It's not like I'm like a braggadocious person. I just whatever. I laugh at it. I'm like
you laughed at, oh, well, yeah, the journey to nowhere. I'm on the fast track to mediocrity here.
When I got Joel on my show, I had arrived.
Yeah. I actually had Joel on yesterday, and it was the first time I've ever interviewed Joel, and it was a fun interview. So, I mean, and Joel, when I said I was doing it, Joel jumped and said, yeah, I'll be on your show. Heck yeah. And I'm like, cool. Okay.
Look at home, Tim. Everybody's
I've got Scott McCain today, which is the one I'm looking forward to today because I know Scott from Facebook, but I've never had a personal interview with him. So I'm looking forward to that. You know what I mean? And the other ones, my other interviews today, other than Scott, every one of them I know from either personally, like I know you from being on different Blab shows. I have another gentleman, Jeff, that's going to be on that I know him personally from being in a mastermind, and a web girl who actually that her and I partner on some stuff later in the day. So it's like everybody today is like the joy day. Yesterday was stressful day of interviews, but it's like each and tell me if this is true with you. You've been doing it for 16 years. Each day presents new awesome opportunities. I mean,
it's a nice way of putting it. Yeah.
All right. It has fear on one side and it's faith the other side of knowing, hey, you know how to do this, just do it. You agree?
Oh yeah. I mean, doing live shows, especially when I transitioned to doing video, was way different. I tell you what, out of all the people I've had to interview, and like I've said, I've been blessed to interview probably well over 1,000, probably closer to 1,500 people. I would say that Kay Robertson from Duck Dynasty was one of my favorite. I've had the blessing of having almost all of Duck Dynasty on my show, with the exception of Phil. I haven't been able to get Phil. He's one of the few I haven't been able to get. But Kay was so funny because I have what I call A-list guest questions that I ask my people. And I threw out one of my extraordinary questions to her, and she was only supposed to give me a 10-minute interview, but because of my question, it lasted 10 minutes longer. And she went on and on and on. It was really funny. And she's so sweet. So she's one of my favorite guests of all time.
I want to ask who your worst was, but I don't like name dropping to hurt people's feelings.
My worst, I seriously can't remember his name, but what I can tell you what happened was I was broadcasting on Periscope, and it was the very first time in the history of my show that I had my audience say, please get this person off your show right now. We cannot stand this. I was doing everything I could too. So fortunately, I can't remember who that was.
We've all had bad shows, so So Stacy, what are you just still doing the radio show? What are you doing now? What else are you doing now other than the radio show?
Well, so I transitioned. I am still doing our show. We had to cut back because of finances, and so I am now with Ladies of Justice. You can see that I have a gavel, makes it official.
Hold on, I can bring it up here too. So
yeah. So Ladies of Justice is kind of like the girl arm of Legal Shield, which is a direct selling company. We offer legal protection and identity theft protection for individuals and small businesses. And, who knew that, it turns out I'm good in sales. I mean, it kind of makes sense if you think about it. But when I was introduced to this company, at first I was like, I was actually introduced to it because my dad is 91, almost 92. And I had gone down to Florida to rescue him. And he's got dementia and Parkinson's, and I needed to sell his house. And so my husband, Randall, had been in a networking group, and he met a guy named Tim who was a seller of Legal Shield. And Tim said, hey, you know what? Our service can help you out. Would you like to sign up? So we signed up. And then I had some stuff happen. I got away from it for a while. And then I needed something else to deal with, to get a will or whatever. And I re-signed up, and I decided to become an associate because when I looked at all the opportunity and I wasn't sold on it by anybody. I actually did a gazillion, probably about 8 hours of solid research to figure out what it was really about.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked at it, I was like, oh, okay, these people sold it wrong. So people are mad because of that. Or, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so I sold myself on it pretty much.
So, and if people want to get a hold of you, so it's for the audio version. Why don't you tell them what the website is so they can find it?
Okay, so the website is Stacy Harp, STACY HARP as in Peter. There's no E in all of that. .ladiesofjustice.com.
Cool.
So Stacy STACY HARP.ladiesofjustice.com.
That is just a cool website. Just saying.
It is, and what's really cool is that there are videos on there that will tell you about what the service is that you can watch, or you can just PM me directly, and I can just send you some info directly, personally.
Yeah, cool.
And I finally just saw the live comments over here on the right.
I want to bring some of them up. So Anna, which we both know, interesting journey, good lady. All right, Nazim from Italy. I love it when Nazim makes our show.
I know. Hi. I know he always sometimes he comments.
And of course, Alfredo. He actually decides to let everybody know your website. You know what I mean? He wants to get it in there.
Thank you.
All right, your friend Jeannie.
Hi, Jeannie from Georgia.
Yeah. My friend Greg, okay, he thought I was having happy hour. No, I was just explaining something. And then Alfredo said, map to nowhere. So anyway.
Well, it's funny because you don't really know where you're going, do you?
No.
I was just trying to be funny.
It's a journey, ladies and gentlemen, and part of it is the mystery. So anyway, Stacy, this has been fun having you on here. I close out my podcast with a fun game. Do you want to play a game with me?
Sure.
All right. It's a game I like to call This or That. So
all right, that.
I've actually made some of these questions. All right. Some of them are a little bit around you, but some of them kind of are traditional ones. And I like to end it with 2 zingers.
Okay.
So let's start with this one here. I don't know if you watched the movie Matrix or not, but red pill or blue pill?
Well, I saw the movie a long time ago. I don't really remember anything about it, but I'm going to go with red pill because I think the blue pill is what everybody else takes, and the red pill is for people who are awake. Is that right?
Red pill is the awakeness. The blue pill is, all right, I just want to go back to the unawareness bliss. So, yep, the red pill is most people I find are the red pill of truth.
Yeah, that's what I have.
So you live in Tennessee where things get interesting in weather. How about spring or fall?
Well, fall for sure. In fact, the very first fall I had here, I could not believe it because leaves fell off the tree. I was so excited. It was great. And I saw my very first firefly.
Oh, wow.
In the summer, which
I would just think the color, I know, the colors going through the mountains of Tennessee are beautiful in the fall.
Yes.
I know that because I've done it.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
So next one here, if we were to get you pizza, do you want Chicago style or New York?
I'm not a big fan of pizza.
Well, I shouldn't have put that one on there.
What I will say, though, is probably Chicago if I had to go with it.
Because I was wondering that because of the fact I know you were born in New York. I was like, I'm going to throw this one in just to see. But yeah.
I was born upstate New York. But I was only 7, so I don't really,
Still, if you have ever had East Coast pizza, it is the greatest in the world, in my opinion.
Okay.
Let's go on with this one here. Coffee or tea?
Decaf coffee.
Decaf coffee. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go with another food choice. All right. You're in Tennessee, so I don't know about this one. Hamburger or taco?
Oh, definitely a taco.
Okay.
Mexican food is my favorite.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cat or dog?
Dog. I have 2 dogs and 1 cat, but I've had a cat my whole marriage, actually since I was 18. So, but if I had to choose a dog, if I had to choose between Grover or Gideon, it would be my dog.
Mm-hmm.
Because dogs love you back. Cats are buttheads.
My
I always
cat
all
loves me back.
then cats go,
My cat loves me back.
I know my cat loves me too, but
so how about this one here? This is this one here could create wars if you have it right now. Toilet paper, under or over?
You mean like how you hang it?
Yeah.
Over.
Over? Okay. So earlier this week, we had a lady on who basically said that, she changes her boyfriends twice. On the third time, if it's done under the third time, she breaks up with him.
Okay.
So it can create wars.
It's important.
Huh?
It's very important.
Yeah, it is. So, and now the most important question that everyone wants to know your opinion on: boxers or briefs?
Well, I'm married, and well, there's. I think it depends on how I'm feeling, but boxers, I'd probably say.
Your husband's in the background taking notes. Go buy more boxers.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's all I have. Those are my questions. I actually like to have that there down. It's just a little bit of fun. Know some stuff about you. So
that was it, huh?
Yeah, that's it. So not that hard, right? So Stacy, tell everybody your website one more time so that they can hear it on the audio as well as the video.
Okay. My website is Stacy Harp, Stacy Harp, like the musical instrument with no E, ladiesofjustice.com.
So, well, Stacy, I've had a fun time just sitting here and getting to know you and talking to you today, and I appreciate you coming on the show. All right, thank you so much for what you do, and keep doing your radio show because it's got meaning and for people and stuff. So.
I do, and you keep up the good work, and congratulations on being insane enough to do 100 interviews in a month. Good luck with that, but if you don't die by the end of the month being over, we'll see you soon. But if you're dead, well, I know where you can get a will, and that would be from me. So
yeah. So. All right, guys, it's another episode of the Tim Gillette Show. Thanks for Stacy Harp for coming on. Stacy Lynn Harp, as I've always known her as, but Stacy Harp and her web address, stacyharp.ladiesofjustice.com. I'll be back with another episode real soon. I'm Tim Gillette with the Tim Gillette Show. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you soon.